Hi, ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we don't take you for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. And if you find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, okay? Share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. So without wasting much time, most of the setups we had for last week are still valid this week. So we're going to go straight to the point, and then we are going to firstly look into the economic calendar for the coming week. So for the coming week, on Monday we don't have any high impact news. On Tuesday, there's the cash rate and monetary policy statement for the Australian dollar, and this news item is very volatile. So let's be on the lookout for it. It's very volatile for the Australian dollar. So if you are trading any AUD pair, make sure you look out for this news. And later in the day, we have CPI for the US dollar. We have CPI on Tuesday later in the day, and then on Wednesday we have wage price index for the Australian dollar. On Thursday there's the employment change and unemployment rate for the Australian dollar, and then in the morning we have GDP for the British pound, and we also have the core PPI for the USD later in the afternoon, and then on Friday there's a bank holiday. So there's a French bank holiday and an Italian bank holiday. Later in the afternoon, we have the core retail sales and the retail sales, and then prelim consumer sentiments for the USD. So let's jump into the charts and let's look at what we have for this week. So for DXY, this is the DXY chart on a daily time frame. We're expecting DXY to react and give us a bullish momentum from this zone as of last week, but price broke down a bit to the downside, and we are expecting to see some bullish momentum from the DXY. So on the daily perspective, DXY is still bullish, but on the weekly perspective, DXY is bearish. So I saw this nice formation here. So there's this pattern called the 3 drive pattern, where we have our first impulse, we got our first retracement to the 61.8 retracement on the Fibonacci, and we got another impulse to the 161% of the Fibonacci, and then we currently are in the 61.8 retracement zone for the next correction of this 3 drive pattern. So if we are fortunate to get price to continue from this area to the upside, then we should be anticipating that 3 drive pattern to play out. So we'll be looking forward to DXY buying to the upside to this extent. And then the bearish views we have is to see price or DXY break below this zone to the downside and give us a retest and continue to the downside. That's the only bearish view I have on DXY. And this same zone is still valid for a buy. So if we get price dropping down to the second zone, we are also likely going to look out for bullish opportunities within this zone to the upside. But if this zone fails and price breaks below with the closure of a daily candle, then we are also bearish, or price has now shifted bearish on the daily perspective for DXY. And then we had this setup from last week. That's the Japanese yen basket, the JPY basket, and we're expecting price to pull back into this zone to give us some bullish reactions to the upside. And currently price is in the area of interest that we were anticipating from last week, so we'll be looking out for bullish reactions or reversal patterns in this zone to buy the Japanese yen basket. So in that case, if this buy plays out, XXX JPY and pairs will all be selling, and with the exception of maybe USDJPY because of the USD, because of DXY. But then most of the XXX JPY pairs will be might be bearish if this buy plays out. The only way this setup is going to shift bearish is if price is able to break below this structural low, price is able to break below and give us a retest to the downside, then JPY basket will now be bearish. So let's go to EURUSD. So we had this setup for EURUSD from last week. We were expecting price to react from this first zone or the second zone, and price made its way midway in between the two zones. So going into next week, we'll be looking out for a reaction, a bearish confirmation from this zone to sell the EURUSD, or price may just rally a little bit upwards to this second zone and give us the bearish confirmations. Then we can take ourselves from there to the downside for EURUSD. Then we had GBPUSD from last week, and this nice head and shoulder developing, and currently prices in our area of interest where we're expecting to sell from. So we're going to wait and allow price to develop some more, allow the market to develop some more, and then see if we can get some bearish reactions or bearish confirmations from this zone to sell to the downside to complete this head and shoulder pattern on GBPUSD. Then we also had the setup from last week, NZDUSD. We're expecting price to pull back to this zone and give us a reaction to the downside. And currently, price has made its way to the zone, and we are going to wait for the market to give us something clearer, maybe a reversal pattern or a head and shoulder, a double top, or whichever, or a bearish engulfing. Whatever happens within this zone, that will give us a confirmation to sell. We're going to take the opportunity to sell to the downside for NZDUSD. And then we also had the setup from last week, that's USDCAD. So USDCAD, we're expecting price to react from this zone and buy to complete this 4-hour deep cap pattern. And price made its way to this zone and gave us two indecision candles from last week. So same thing on USDCAD. We're going to wait for price to give us a strong bullish confirmation from this zone before we can take our buys to complete this 4-hour deep cap pattern on USDCAD. So there's a little twist with USDCHF. USDCHF on a weekly perspective is still bearish, and on a daily perspective is still bearish. So these are the possibilities we have for the USDCHF. Price may likely pull back to this region, give us a double top, break below this structural low, this daily structural low, give us a retest and sell to the downside to complete the daily deep cap pattern that we have been looking out for weeks ago. The only way the USDCHF will be considered bullish is when we get a daily candle break above or a weekly candle break above this structural point. Then the USDCHF has shifted bullish. So the pattern we have been looking out for a very long time is a deep cap pattern, and this is the pattern. Let me outline the pattern. That's this is the X, this is the A, this is the B leg, the C leg, and the possible D leg. So we are anticipating a possible completion of this deep cap pattern if USDCHF sells from where we find it at the moment. Then we move to CHFJPY. So last week we were looking for it to see price pull back to we're looking for it to see price pull back to this area to give us a sell, but then price never made its way to that side. So we're looking out for a pullback to this zone for the coming week, and look out for selling opportunities to sell to the downside to complete this butterfly pattern that is playing out currently. We also had this GBPJPY setup from last week, and we're expecting price to react from this zone, but price gets buying to the upside. So now what we're going to be looking out for is if we are able to see a bearish confirmation around this zone or anywhere around here, we are likely going to see this head and shoulder, which is not too clear, but then this is the left shoulder, this is the head, this is the possible right shoulder. So we're looking out for a bearish confirmation or a bearish reaction to give us a sell to the downside to complete this possible head and shoulder. The other alternative is if we get price, or if price breaks above this zone, this structural point, and closes above it on a daily candle with a daily candle or a weekly candle, then GBPJPY ceases to be bearish. So now GBPJPY would have shifted bullish if a daily candle breaks above the structural point and continues the buy to the upside. We also have NZDJPY, and NZDJPY is also very bearish, and price has actually or currently has made its way to this area of interest. So coming into next week, we're looking for a possible reversal pattern within this zone or a bearish confirmation within this zone to sell NZDJPY to this side. That's if the JPY basket becomes bullish, then this move is possible. Then this sell move is possible. Then we have EURGBP. So this is EURGBP on a daily time frame. EURGBP currently has shifted bearish. So going into next week, we'll be looking out for these two scenarios. If price is able to break, if price is able to retrace back to this neckline and sell and give us a daily candle break below this structural point, we'll be waiting for a pullback to this zone and a sell to the downside. A sell to the downside. So we're looking out for this as the first option, or we wait for price to break below this zone with a daily candle, give us a retest and sell to the downside. So I'm very bearish on EURGBP for the coming week. Then we move to GBPCAD. So GBPCAD is also developing. It's actually reacted from a strong area of resistance 10 support, and it's currently giving us something like a bat pattern, but it's not yet confirmed. So until we get our C leg formation, which I'm anticipating price to pull back to this zone and give us a bullish reaction to the upside. So coming into next week, wait for price to give us a possible C leg, and then we'll look out for buying opportunities to continue the buys to the upside. So this is the pattern that we are looking at. It's a possible bat pattern or an alt bat pattern, depending on where this B leg is going to retrace from. So this is our X, this is our A, our possible B, a possible C leg, and then our D leg. So that's what we have for GBPCAD for the coming week. So I'm very bullish on GBPCAD. And we have a similar setup for NZDCAD. This is a 2-hour time frame. So we have a possible Gali pattern developing on NZDCAD. So this is our X, our A, our B leg, our C leg, and our possible D leg. So going into next week, we are going to look out for a possible pullback to this area of interest and then get a bullish confirmation to buy to complete this Gatli pattern on the 2-hour time frame for NZDCAD. So there's a similar setup too on AUDCAD. This is AUDCAD and the shift to the 4-hour time frame. So AUDCAD is also likely going to give us a deep crab pattern. So we have our X, we have our A, we have our B, C leg, and a possible D leg. So what we're going to wait for is to see a possible pullback to this area of interest, give us a bullish confirmation, then we take the buy to the upside to complete this possible 4-hour deep crab pattern for AUDCAD. Then we also have this setup from episode 2. This is AUDNZD. So AUDNZD on episode 2, we're expecting price to pull back to any of these two zones to give us a bullish reaction to the upside to complete this possible daily bat pattern or inverse head and shoulder. So this is more like the neckline for the inverse head and shoulder. This is the inverse head and shoulder that we saw from episode 2. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, the right shoulder, and price broke above the neckline. Price broke above the neckline. So we are waiting for a pullback into the neckline and buy to the upside. So this is the structure. If you can see it clearly, you can see this is an inverse head and shoulder. It's very clean now, as you can see. So that's what we are looking out for. And there are two options now. Price is currently developing a 4-hour deep crab pattern, which means, and from what we are seeing here, price will likely just pull back. Sorry, let me shift to the 4-hour time frame. So this is the possibility, the second bullish possibility on AUDNZD on a 4-hour time frame. So this is the potential harmonic pattern developing. That's the X, this is our A, this is our B, and then our potential C, then our D. So going into next week, what we'll be looking out for, if we get a pullback to this zone and price gives us a bullish confirmation within this zone, price is able to give us a bullish confirmation within this zone, we're going to continue the buy to the upside to complete this deep crab pattern on the 4-hour time frame. Alternatively, there's something different also developing here. Since we are looking out for price to pull back into this major weekly area of interest, you can see there's also a head and shoulder, a possible head and shoulder developing here. So what we can do is we're going to wait to see what price is going to do. So this is the possible head and shoulder developing here. This is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the possible right shoulder. So what can happen here is we can also have price break below this neckline, break below, get a retest, and continue the sells to the downside. So these are the two possibilities we have for AUDNZD. Then we move to gold. Yeah, so last week we were anticipating price to pull back to this area of interest and give us a reaction to buy to the upside, but we never saw that pullback. So going into next week, we'll be expecting a pullback to this zone or somewhere here, anywhere around this zone, where we'll wait for a bullish reaction from this zone or this zone. Then we take our buys to the upside for gold. So I'm still very bullish on gold, and this is going to be these highs are going to be our first take profit if that plays out. Then we move to Brent crude oil, UK oil. So for UK oil, on the monthly perspective, price is bearish, the market is bearish. On a weekly perspective, the market is bullish, and on a daily perspective, the market is bearish. So going into next week, we're looking forward to a pullback into this area of interest, and for price to give us a bearish reaction, a strong bearish reaction. Then we can take ourselves from there to this side as our first TP. So I'm very bearish on the Brent crude oil for the coming week, and this is also a possible TP2 if price gives us a strong momentum to the downside. So this is what we have for Brent crude oil. So this is US 30. We had the setup from last week. We anticipated that price will pull back into this area of interest and then give us a selling opportunity to the downside. And as we can see, price is in the area of interest as we had from last week, and we are still waiting for a bearish confirmation to sell to the downside. Or price can also move up to this zone, give us a reaction, a bearish confirmation from here, and then we can still take it to the downside. But then if price breaks above these zones or these highs, then we are not going to look at US30 on the bearish side. We're going to now be looking for bullish opportunities on the US30. So we move to Australia 200. So Australia 200 is currently very bullish. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a pullback into this area of interest and get buying confirmations, and then we buy to the upside to complete this. And we're going to target 9,000 on the Australia 200. So I'm also very bullish on Australia 200. So today I have a bonus for long-term stock investors and soft commodity traders. So I have two setups that I'm giving out as a bonus for these kind of people. So let's look at cocoa. Cocoa, something nice is cooking on cocoa. So currently, cocoa is developing a possible daily cipher or shark pattern. And as you can see, price has now given us the confirmation break to the upside. So going into next week or the coming weeks, we'll be anticipating price to pull back to $8,735 dollars per ton or per metric ton region. That's the area you can get a very good price to buy this cocoa, and then we buy cocoa from here to the upside. Then again, you can just go ahead also to buy from the current market price, which is also going to give you some good returns. So our first target is around 12,618.4 per metric ton. Then the two other targets is around the two other targets are around $13,265 per metric ton to 14,000, or let's say let's give it a round number or a psychological level of $15,000 per metric ton. So cocoa is going to be very bullish in the coming weeks. Cocoa is going to be very bullish. So if you have any investments in cocoa, or you're yet to make any investments in cocoa, try and consider it. Then the last one we have is the Boeing company, the stocks for Boeing company, and this is the monthly time frame. This is a very long-term investment, so that's why I said long-term investors, those who have the capacity to hold these stocks for a very long time, because this is the monthly time frame and it might take quite some time for this to play out. So the Boeing company currently prices around 229 per share, and the best price you can get, if price should pull back to this side, we'll be looking out for a better entry around $190 per share for the Boeing company's stock, and then hold it for price to break above this possible neckline and get a retest, then the price continues to the upside. So the very first target for the Boeing company stock is $350 per share, and then the ultimate target for the Boeing company's share of stock is going to be the all-time highs, which is $440 per share, and this might likely break above to the upside. So these are the setups we have for this week. Thank you so much for sticking through to this point. I really appreciate you for staying through, and I'll entreat you that you apply proper risk management to your trades and then trade wisely. I wish you a very profitable and a fruitful week. Catch you guys on another episode. Take care and have a wonderful time. Bye bye.